So hello there, and this is the Magic Bringers Rising chat for August 29th, for the week of August 29th to September 4th. And in this episode, we will talk all about how to rise like a goddess from the sea during this next Mercury retrograde. Welcome to Magic Bringers Rising Chats, a show by Super Secret Powers. I'm your host, Lindsay Baldisano, and let's get ready for a dose of energy healing, channeled guidance, and humor to keep your intuitive flow open and your roots grounded so you can lead the life of healing, spiritual purpose, and magic that you want. So, onward and upward. Last week, we had some really big shifting energy, and there might have been some shocking things around it. There might have been some disappointing things around it. Things didn't quite work out the way you hoped, intentioned, or expected them to. So tell me in the comments, how are you after last week's Uranus energy? What is coming forward as something that you're going to build your new foundation on because of some of the changes that had to happen? Tell me in the comments. I'd love to chat about it. But this week, we are all focused on, or the energies are focused on Mercury retrograde, which is then shifting us toward the things that we will need to look at as we come into and come closer to this next eclipse season at the end of October. So that seems like it's a far off thing still, right around Samhain, right around Halloween. But I swear eclipse seasons last like 3 to 4 months because there's like the lead up to it in which a lot of things get stirred up and a lot of things get shaken up. There's almost always, at least in this recent past, and almost always some kind of Mercury retrograde associated with the eclipse. And of course, all the other retrogrades, especially in the later year eclipses. Well, because we have most of our solar system planets already in retrograde. So there you go. Things will lighten up a little bit as we get into October, right before the retrograde the eclipse season, like formally officially begins. But we have to get there first. And Mercury retrograde is the first step along the way. This Mercury retrograde will be in Libra and Virgo, and it starts on the 9th. So we still have a week to go by the time you're watching this video until Mercury retrograde is finally in its backward movement. But that doesn't mean that things aren't already stirred up. I mean, come on. They got stirred up last week and they're going to continue to get stirred up. And it's going to feel like a lot of backward motion, a lot of one step forward or even half step forward and 5 steps backwards. But all of these retrogrades are really testing your foundations and your resolve to make things easy on yourself. I always see Mercury as a way opener. Okay, him not so much himself a way opener. He does protect ways and he protects communication and travel and all that kind of thing, all that kind of stuff. But the retrogrades are really like us focused, helping us to be our own way showers or our own way clearers, I should say, clearing the way before you to get to where you want to go. And sometimes that means getting your foundations and the things you need for your daily life back into order, back into working order. And sometimes it means uprooting completely so that you can have a stronger foundation someplace else or in a different way, at least. And as we come toward the end of the week, we do have the moon in the first quarter. So we have this kind of innovative energy behind us. Um, but because we're in like Libra Virgo kind of energies, don't overcomplicate things. Do not overcomplicate things. Do not overcomplicate things. Get out of your head and into doing. Just doing, like almost doing without thinking. Let the intuition just flow right through you and start tackling things as you need to, as they come up in your head. And you say, all right, that's a good idea. Let me do this now before I forget. Do it. Or all right, if you're a list maker and you actually can work effectively from a list, put it on the list at least. But if you're a person who just gets overwhelmed when your list is more than 5 things, then just get into action. Action, action, action. And let that inspired action just carry you forward during this time period. And I have another question for you. So, what is coming up on your list of repairs or maintenance for your house, like your car, your business, your work schedule, your schedule with your kids, school, and all that kind of stuff? Because I know a lot of kids are going back to school now, and that requires a shift and a lot of preparation on parents' parts. You know. So, what are those things that are coming up in your life foundations and your daily routine that need to be improved upon, fixed, or repaired at this point in time? Because though that's your Mercury retrograde homework right there. That's what you can do to make this whole process almost seamless. The other thing you can do to make this process more seamless is remember that this is about divine timing. And we can't push all of our expectations off on others. If you were trying to get this appointment and it just keeps getting canceled, this is for me. You just have to step back and remember that um it's coming. The test in this is to test your resolve and how much you want it, how much you need it, how much you actually want to follow through with this. Stick to it. And once the energy starts moving more direct again, and for yourself and for the other people involved, because they're not always as fast on the intuitive uptake as you, it'll work. Then it'll work. This isn't a moment to stop and doubt yourself. This is just a moment to say, this is what I want. Now, how can I facilitate making this happen within my own boundaries and my own power structure? All right. So we are also already streaming into the message part of this. This is becoming a little bit more seamless and integrated. And I think it will be until like we come to late November, December, when things start clearing up and lightening up around the holidays and we start getting into that fun and free Sagittarius energy. So there's just a lot coming. And that's part of what the guides really wanted to express. And this isn't even something that I read in necessarily out the astrological energy, other than the fact that, once we start hitting Scorpio energy at the end of October and into November, it's going to be intense. And it's going to be also psychically intense. So they want to tell you up front that things, guides, signals from the universe, it's all going to start getting real chatty real fast. So plan around that, however you need to plan around that, because the point isn't overwhelm. So if you need to sleep and nap more, you need to sleep and nap more. If you need to make the extensive to-do lists, make them, but also know that, or make sure that you're not coming from more of the shadow side of this Libra, Virgo energy of perfectionism. That it all has to be done in a particular order, or it all has to be done to exacting standards, or it all has to be done um, according to this pie in the sky kind of ideal. That's especially what Virgo represents to me sometimes, where like, but it's all going to work out and then everything's going to be perfect again. And like, just because I decide today and I'm going to stand in my power. Yes. Those are the foundation steps, but we can't afford to overlook the work and the dedication and devotion it takes to live that daily dream or that new decision or that new habit moment by moment by moment by moment, because that's the only place that we can create change is in the moment. And so a big part of this is, yes, get out of your head, and then do whatever it takes to stay in body and not fly off into the land of a million thousand ideas right now. The right idea will come down once you are able to get your body in sync with your mind and your spirit. So this is kind of like a grounding thing and an alignment thing all at once, and a how do you sync yourself with divine timing. And for some of you, that might be sitting in meditation, but for others, you might need a very physical component, like a very physical component to how you're working. This isn't like something to play with. This is just like you need to get up and move your body. You need to go do some yoga. You need to go do some stretches. Um, you need to start finding a new way in order to be able to channel the input that's coming in, especially when it starts gearing up and things get real chatty, because that feels like a lot of energy. And it feels like a lot of energy in the body. And that can then very easily get interpreted as anxiety and stress and overwhelm. And then you slip into like that helpless state because you feel so overwhelmed, like you don't even know where to start. So the more you can get in sync with how your body is living on this planet and go out and do things and go out and walk and go out and stretch and go out and just sit in a pool while you still can. Those days are numbered here in Pennsylvania. But I have a hot tub. I don't have a pool. And yes, I will go in the hot tub when it's like dead winter. As long as it's not like below 30, we'll still go in the hot tub. um, but get into your body and make friends with this ability to channel that energy outwardly into the world, you know? However that looks and feels to you, that's going to be so important in the next coming weeks, month, yeah, around then. And to like reaffirm this as well, they also want you to have stronger boundaries about you time. So really make that, especially when all everybody's schedules are changing around this time, going into fall hours and into winter hours and school starts and all that kind of stuff. Really assert your boundaries around having 20 minutes, an hour, whatever you can do for yourself, whether it's in the car as you're driving around or dropping kids off, or it's a bath at night after everybody's at bed, whatever, whenever that is. Hold those strong boundaries, because even if you don't feel like you need it, you're going to need it, and you're going to need that habit already carved out into your schedule so that you can take that time then as you wish. And on a beautiful note, they also want you to know to let those incoming fall energies ground you into your body. Um, all those beautiful feelings that you get around fall of taking like a walk or a drive to see the foliage, or, having that perfect cup of coffee and a little cafe, wrapping yourself up in your favorite sweater. all those little comforting, very grounding things. Use it, really sink into the moment, and, be present with those little joys right now. um, because we need to be more in the body as these energies are influencing us and the people around us. Because let's recognize that it's not just us, that this is a may lose situation. We are involved in a lot of different webs of people, relationships, and they're all going through these experiences in their own way. And we can't rush that and we can't pressure them, but we have to find it within ourselves to have the patience to see the process through. All right. I feel like I'm talking to some very specific people there. Now, before we go into the light language portion, I do want to let everybody know that as a kind of pre-eclipse sale or happy Mercury retrograde sale I have going on, I am offering my dream casting your year course for $100 off. So it was $199 and now it's $97. And dream casting is my own process, and I wrote a book about it. And then I decided to really kind of beef out a course so that it wasn't like year specific, or it wasn't business specific. It was just life specific. But it really helps you bridge the gap between your intuition and planning. So many intuitives have problems around planning. They think that they can't put these things down on paper because they don't know what's going to come next, or they don't know when they're going to feel like getting around to doing something. So, this kind of bridges the gap between the intuitive type and how to begin making solid plans using your intuition. And there's a little bit of lunar energy in there, using the lunar cycle to really help, but also about how to get to the right place within you so that you're pulling in the right information at the right time so that you can begin making these plans and building a solid foundation for yourself with your own intuition. So you don't always feel like, you're trying to cram everything in, or you don't know where to start, or that you keep falling off that bandwagon of being in power and empowered in your life to take those inspired actions. Anyway, look for the comments, or look for the link for that sale page in my show descriptions. In my show description. And now we are going to switch over. Oh, and that sale goes on until September 18th. And then the price is going to go back up. So grab it while you can. Because the ideas behind this are really just kind of like homegrown. It's not one way or the other. It's something I really had to develop for myself because like no one thing was really cutting it. No one thing was really like, yes, let's make Lindsay an organized person, um, while avoiding that whole overwhelmed state, while avoiding that whole um but I don't know what to do because I can't trust my intuition enough to kick in when I need it kind of situation. All right. Anyway, enough about that. We're going to move on to the light language portion of this little video. And I am going to channel something directly around getting out of your head and into inspired action. So let's get settled in here. Divine solution comes from heart, but it is not something you can necessarily decide before the moment has come in which you can decide. This living experience leads us in so many ways to the very moment, down to the nanosecond, from which we can take our desires and our energy and our intentions and choose. Choose to do, choose to act, choose to be, choose to rise, choose. And it comes from heart, and it comes from sacral, and it comes from joy. This body experience is meant for enjoyment. Release. Release limitation, release constriction, release rules, release regulations, release expectation. What will you enjoy in this decision process? What will you allow to feel in your gut? What will you lovingly, excitedly walk toward, run toward? What is that solution, that decision that needs to come forward, needs to come forward, needs to come forward for you? The pot has been stirred in the universe for every reason. So you can choose, you can choose, you can choose now, 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 Now you will know. Now you will feel that joy. Allow that joy. Creative solution. We will keep this short so you can listen again and again to feel the energy to be cleared out so expansion can happen. So you understand the joy on a deeper, more cellular, in-body way so that choice becomes clear. Choice is clear. Action aligned because joy is present to feel further, to feel more, to feel commitment on a very deep but homey, comfortable, inevitable feeling kind of flow. Decide what it is that you really, actually, in real life want. Joy, waves of joy. Solution is more simple than you ever imagined. Rooted in joy. Thank you for participating. Thank you for showing up for this experience and for allowing it for yourself. And we will see you next week, where we will be talking all about, of course, next week's energy and the light language and the messages involved around that. But we will be delving a little bit into the full moon for next week and, of course, more Mercury retrograde energy in Libra.